It is the 6th of June, and that is the Swedish National Flag Day. Um, Opposed to Norway, we don't really have a big celebration. I think we are trying as a country to become better at it, but I'm going to do my bit. So I'm going to do a little painting in my sketchbook about the most Swedishness of Swedish stuff that I can think of right now. Obviously, now that I've been thinking about it for some time, I can come up with more stuff. But here is what I came up with first. And I think that's maybe a bit more accurate, like the first things that comes to mind. So I'm working in my sketchbook that I made in a previous vlog. This is Seawater Barton 300 GSM cellulose paper, cold press, and I've just bound it together so you know what I'm working on. The watercolor, as you can see here on the right, it is handmade watercolors from Sweden by yours truly, and I'm using all of them. Yeah. So let's start. I'm going to try and go through all my little references here. If you're not Swedish, it might be a bit like, what have you done? So I'm going to try to explain it. We're starting off with our Swedish banner. Later, when it's getting colored, you're like, that's not Swedish, that's Ukrainian. Yes, if it was a flag, it would be. But in Sweden, we have a lot of flagpoles, especially out in the countryside. And this is our like everyday banner that is up. It is blue and yellow, and then on special holidays we switch it out for a proper flag. However, I decided on this little collage that I have made to go with the banner just because I like the long flowiness to sort of frame the page. Very aesthetic, I know. I also wanted to incorporate both land and sea because we have been known to be a seafaring people. I don't know, like 1,000 years ago, we were quite a lot out of sea and visiting near and far. Yes, I'm talking about the Viking Age, and we have a Viking longboat right there. And of course some cliffs in the distance too. So we also have an airplane that is a Saab Gripen Jas. I don't remember the number. Please don't come for me. I realized I would have to incorporate Volvo and Saab into this because, and right now Saab is not making cars, to my brother's big disappointment, but they're making a very big good airplane that is called Gripen, so I had to include it. We also have the traditional little house here where there's red, and it's usually painted with red iron oxide, which I have used to paint this because I made a watercolor paint with red iron oxide. Coming back down to the cars, we have a Volvo. This is a Volvo PV, or personal wagon. And I think it's by far my dad's favorite car, the one he always talks about because he had one when he was little. Obviously, he didn't, but my grandparents did. So, moving on to the right side, there is a pony trotting with a little sulky behind it. And in Sweden, the horse sport is quite big, both in riding horses and also driving horses. And trotting is by far the biggest. But I decided to go with the pony version here that is quite popular along with kids, because I also had a Gotland pony, or Gotlandsruss, so I felt like they needed to be represented. It's a Swedish breed and they are quite unique. We have some foxgloves behind the mailboxes here, and I decided to go with a red one where it says Jonas A, which stands for Jonas Alströmer. And he is the one who took potatoes. You can see a little bucket here with potatoes. He is the one being credited for taking the potatoes to Sweden, which is quite a big thing because we eat a lot of potatoes here. Doing my research, I realized he didn't actually like bring it to Sweden, but he is the one being credited and the one who sort of very much like wanted people to start eating and growing potatoes because it's a good idea. And looking back, it was a really good idea. On the middle mailbox, we first one have a little Gotland sheep which is a really popular sheep breed, producing a really good fleece, especially for yarn making. You also have one below the yarn, the mailbox. This name on the letterbox, it is Svea, and that's usually what we call our mother country, Mother Svea. And we have some bluebells on that, and that is the national flower of Sweden. And then in the green one, it says C. Linné, which is or Carl von Linné, or you call it Carl von Linnaeus, I think. But it's not called Linnaeus. It's Carl von Linné. And he has got some ads in his mailbox from IKEA and just some other stuff. I decided to put a milk jug here, the way we usually send off milk, to sort of represent what my ancestors or my dad's, my grandparents used to do. And I just put 94 because that's when I was born. And we have some more sheep. I also decided to add in 3 books to reference 3 authors that has inspired me quite a lot, and they all happen to be like children books author. But so we have Astrid Lindgren, but then Lena Andersson and Sven Nordqvist are amazing illustrator, and what you can see here is sort of me growing up reading the books that they have made. Looking up a little bit, we have what we call a flakmoppe, or a moped with a little tray in front of it. They are really, really popular. We used to have 2 or 3 at my school, and we used them so much when we were doing fences for horses or everything. They're so, so good. And I decided to do a little fun thing here. We have 2 packs of ABBA, which is really fun because we have the music export, ABBA, the music group, but also one of the biggest food brands that we have is also called ABBA, but they do a lot more with fish. So I thought that was a little bit fun. And then out here in the corner we have a little nice garden with lilacs, and there been put a lot of stuff on the table, especially like the princess cake, which is a traditional like birthday cake here that is covered in bright green marzipan. Why? Nobody knows. And then a bright pink rose. And we have a little bit of a visitor here, the elk, which is the national animal of Sweden, and he is just nibbling away a little bit. Last but not least, in the right corner, we have a Västgötaspets, which is a really, really old native dog breed to the county, I think you can say, where I grew up. So this dog comes from here. And they say that there's a theory that the Vikings brought them over to the Great British Isles, and that later that from these dogs they developed the corgi dogs. But my friend, she just calls them the wolf corgis, and they're look like that. This one has a little sweater on it with the 3 crowns of Sweden, and also the last reference is Alfred Nobel and a stick of dynamite, because these dogs, they get up to all the mischiefs. Like, they're worse than Jack Russells, I promise you. So anyway, that is, I think, all the references that I have gathered to Sweden. Yeah, I had a really lot of fun painting this. I hope you've liked it. For now, I'm going to have a fika.